morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where first off we have a winner for that giveaway courtesy of our friends at Dolby, who are very proud of their Dolby Atmos technology and how it improves your movie-going experience for movies like Avengers Age of Ultron. So to celebrate the release of Avengers Age of Ultron, as well as the kickoff of the summer movie season, where you'll be seeing plenty of films that utilize Dolby Atmos technology, they gave me a prize package to give away to one of you. And again, that package includes 2 movie passes from Fandango and also headphones with an Ultron design. So to enter, you had to tweet me your 1-sentence review for Avengers Age of Ultron, and then also include the hashtag Dolby Atmos. So I got a ton of great 1-sentence reviews. It was so hard to choose just one, but I had to, and I did. So I am very pleased to announce that the winner of this prize package from Dolby Atmos and Beyond the Trailer is BTT viewer Michelle Williams. And Michelle tweeted me a great 1-sentence review. She said, at Grace Randolph, Avengers was a vision in 3D, but Ultron made it an audio treat with that voice. I am now a James Spader fan. Hashtag Dolby Atmos. Great 1-sentence review, Michelle, and so be sure to check your Twitter account for a direct message from me on how to receive your prize. And again, thank you everybody who entered. I hope you had fun, and I'm sure Dolby will be thinking of us again soon. All right, so let's move on to the 3 stories of the day. We have a fun, lighthearted story to begin with, but then some disturbing ones. All right, so what's the fun story? Well, you might have noticed that yesterday, Skull Island was trending on Twitter for quite some time. And that wasn't a movie they were discussing. Of course, Universal is making a Skull Island movie with Legendary, but it was actually something that's going to happen at Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando. Yes, it was theme park news. And once again, Universal was able to get Disney on the ropes. They've become very competitive in Orlando with the Islands of Adventure theme park. And I'm sure that Disney did not like seeing the success of this announcement yesterday. So what was the announcement? Well, Universal announced that at Islands of Adventure, in that theme park, where they have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, although that's expanded to now both theme parks, Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Orlando, but to Islands of Adventure they're going to be adding a new land. It's not going to replace anything. They're going to build it in between 2 lands that already exist, but it's going to be called Skull Island, and it's going to be an immersive experience. You know, before, Kong was really only represented in the tram experience that they had. That's been replaced, though, in Orlando with a Mummy roller coaster. But they initially had King Kong there in that capacity. And I believe that for a time he was also in the California Universal Studios as part of the studio tour. But I think they replaced him with Transformers and et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, so Kong was there, but not in the way that they want him to be to echo the major push they're going to be doing with the character on the big screen. So they're going to have this immersive experience where you can walk through a jungle apparently, and then you're going to get like on a safari tram, and then you're going to drive through that giant gate from the original, I believe, Peter Jackson film. So it's interesting that they're still playing off of that a little bit, and you're going to find yourself in a dangerous scenario on Skull Island where there'll be giant prehistoric creatures for you to battle, just like in the Peter Jackson way that was interpreted, and the original, you know, Kong throughout the history of the character. And then Kong is going to come and save you. I think they want to make sure they show him as the good guy. So everybody was very excited about this. I think not only because people are King Kong fans, but because Universal has proven a very strong ability with their theme parks as of late to deliver. Now this is something that Disney is trying to compete with as well. For instance, the Avatar announcement that they're going to add a land that represents the James Cameron films and Animal Kingdom. And also, they're trying to get on board with Star Wars as well. So Disney could become quite competitive in this way as well. But right now, Universal is in the lead. And they've done a fantastic job with Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I love it. It's been one of the best theme park experiences I've ever had. And for instance, just taking the Hogwarts Express between the 2 parks is a fantastic experience. And Universal has really raised the bar to bring in the people who work on the films to create something that isn't just a ride, but just standing there in the middle of it makes you feel like you've entered that world. And that's, well, Disney, I think, does a wonderful job. I love the Disney theme parks. I think that it's not quite as immersive an experience as Harry Potter has been. So Universal, I think, knows they have to keep, expand or die. You have to keep improving and upping your game, especially when you're locked in a competition. There's no winner. This is just going to keep going on and on. And so I think they realize they can't just rely on Harry Potter forever. They have to do more. So you're seeing this Skull Island initiative, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jurassic World does particularly well at the box office. You see that part of the parks plussed as well. So I was impressed the attention that this got. I think it's a new era for theme park experiences. As you know, the Hunger Games franchise is trying to get in on this potentially as well. And I think that Disney, of course, will, don't worry about Disney, but I think you're going to see a real shift in what theme park experiences are like, which I think, competition helps everyone. It helps everybody in every area. You always want to keep people on your toes and at the top of their game. So Universal, I think it's interesting, though, that while Harry Potter has been a real boon to them, and while they're going to continue to focus on expanding and improving that experience, they're also applying it to other films. So very exciting, and hopefully we'll see that level of immersion, perhaps with what Disney does with Avatar and also the Star Wars brand. Very exciting. All right, so that's the first story of the day, and I'm curious to what you guys think. Is this changing your mind about theme parks at all? Are you still anti-theme park? And also, some of you are surprised at how important the theme park business is to the movie business, how closely they're tied together. Are you starting to see that connection a little bit better now, or understand it a little bit better? All right, so I said the other two stories were shocking. Well, the first story is about women in film and some names that I'm sure you're a fan of, and the difficult time they're having behind the scenes. So there are two stories, one with Jennifer Lawrence, so I'm combining them into one. So don't worry, there's still one more story to go today. So one is with Jennifer Lawrence. This was a big story yesterday, and the other was also with Anna Kendrick. So we'll start with Jennifer Lawrence. Now, as I reported before, Jennifer Lawrence is circling a project at Sony called Passengers, which is a space romance between her and Chris Pratt. It's a great idea for a movie. Morton Tildum from The Imitation Game is supposed to direct. I think he's a little out of his element there. I would have preferred someone on this a little bit more experienced with special effects. But basically, all these humans are on an ark traveling to another place to populate, and one of them is accidentally awoken from hypersleep, Chris Pratt. So not wanting to be alone because, the trip is so long he'll die before they get there because he's no longer in suspended animation, he wakes up someone else, Jennifer Lawrence's character, to keep him company. And I would imagine she's initially quite peeved, but they fall in love, etc., etc. So it sounds like a really good project, and Sony's very excited about it. But they've run into a bit of a problem in that Jennifer Lawrence is demanding a $20 million payday. And they want to keep the budget of this film down. They want to keep it to $80 to $95 million, which I think is smart. I think I don't see why a movie like that, which doesn't have a lot of action sequences in it, needs to be considerably higher. And so they're trying to make sure that they keep everybody's salaries in check. And it was very interesting because it revealed a lot of other salaries. Chris Pratt, for instance, is set to get $10 million for the film. And Morton Tildum, that director, is going to get $3 million. But Jennifer Lawrence is insisting on $20 million. And she says, I don't care. I don't care what your budgetary concerns are or what kind of back end you promise me. It was also revealed that, as we suspected, that Hollywood is trying to move away from large paydays up front and give people sweeter back end deals, which I am actually in favor of. Make movie stars put their money where their mouth is, right? If they feel they can deliver the box office that they're supposed to as a star, then they shouldn't be worried about their paychecks. They'll get it at the end. And people like Harrison Ford and Robert Downey Jr. have made tens of millions of dollars from back-end deals. So they're not shabby. But I think that Jennifer Lawrence's team and herself obviously feel that if anyone's getting paid a lot of money up front, they should as well. Why shouldn't Jennifer Lawrence? Especially because she was burned by Sony before on American Hustle. That's apparently adding to the problem here, where it was revealed in that leak that while she only got seven points in the back end situation, all of the male actors in the movie got 9 points. And some of you might argue, well, Christian Bale and Bradley Cooper might be more bigger stars, although nobody's bigger than Jennifer Lawrence right now. But the Jeremy Renner, who had such a small part in the movie, would also get 9 points, but she would only get 7. I mean, that just seems like a slap in the face. And she felt like it was a slap slap in the face. So she's not budging on this $20 million payday and says she'll walk from the film if she doesn't get it. Which actually some people are starting to advocate in Hollywood, saying if women want to see a change, they should walk away from roles. But I think a lot of, you'll see from Anna Kendrick's story that that's not a luxury a lot of women have. But Jennifer Lawrence, I think, is one of the few actresses who can hurt a studio by walking away from a project. So we'll see. I suspect Sony will cave on this, but it's very interesting that they're not willing to. I mean, I think that she's definitely worth the $20 million, and you've only got, when you factor in the budgets here, you've got 33 spoken for, and if you want to keep it to 80 or 95, they should still be able to make that movie. The other thing that was interesting to come out of this article is that it was revealed that Scarlett Johansson's payday for Ghost in the Shell is $17.5 million thanks to the strong performance of Lucy. So that's something that's headed in the right direction, that she's proven that she can bring in an audience and she's being rightfully rewarded. And I'm sure she has back-end points there as well. But then the other thing that's very interesting is that Anna Kendrick has said that she's having a considerable problem being an actress in Hollywood, and she's very disappointed in the situation. For instance, she said that there's a movie that she really wants to be in. She's very excited about the script, but the studio has told her that they cannot even enter in a discussion with her about being in the film until the male roles have been cast. Now, you might say, why is that? Well, that's because Hollywood obviously feels still that the male roles are what drives the attendance for the film, and they want to make sure that the actresses they catch match the male person that they've cast. So instead of casting Anna Kendrick and finding a male actor that's a good fit with her, they feel that the male actor is more important, and so then they want to cast her afterwards. Now, to be fair to Hollywood, it would be interesting to know what the story is. Maybe Anna Kendrick, while she likes the movie, wouldn't be the lead, right? So the lead is the most important role to cast. We're just assuming based on what Anna Kendrick said that the roles are equal. But still, I think this is a real truth in Hollywood that the men are still to a large degree considered the draw, and women are considered the decoration and something that has to complement the male actor. So it's really disheartening to see this is still a situation in Hollywood and that actresses still have to contend with this. But I'm glad they're being more vocal about it so that moviegoers can know what's going on and then make a decision. Perhaps in the near future we'll see a call to action. But I think that it's very hard to get someone not to do something to try, especially it's so exciting, like, don't go see this exciting movie, to make a stand, and you're like, but I'm going to miss out on the exciting movie. It's very difficult indeed. But speaking of exciting movies, let's move on to our third story, and perhaps you might find yourself not as excited to see Disney movies going forward because they're more expensive. Yes, this was a huge story that started in the Wall Street Journal and started to spread, as it should, and it's spreading here because I want to share it with you. Now, Disney, behind the scenes, tried to use their box office muscle and that they have so many tentpole pictures that they're distributing to force theater owners into deals that were more beneficial to Disney. So far, the theater owners have had a small victory, but they are by no means out of the woods yet. So what's happening? Well, Disney looked at their slate and they realized they have pretty much all the big movies. They've got the Marvel movies, the animated movies. They've got the live-action fairy tales. They have Star Wars coming up, the Pixar movies. And they said, you know what? This is ridiculous. We can dictate terms because what are you going to do? Not release our movies? So they went to the theaters and they said, we want to get more money out of the box office. So we want you to change when the cutoff time is for matinees. Traditionally, a matinee runs till any movie time before 6 p.m. counts as a matinee. But Disney wanted them to change it to anything before 5 p.m. So a 5:30 show, which would previously have been considered a matinee, would now be considered a full-price show. So the theater owners got very upset about that, and they complained to the theater organization, and so Disney had to back off of that demand. But as I said, they're not out of the woods yet, the theater owners, because Disney is still mulling over the idea of pressing for an average ticket price to be considered when splitting box office revenue. They want to go to all the theater owners and say the average ticket price in the United States is $8.12. So we're calculating what you owe us off of your box office receipts based on that ticket price. And if you happen to charge less to your patrons, well then that's going to come out of your part of the revenue. So obviously theater owners are very worried about that, and I think that obviously what would happen if Disney were to press that is that everyone would have to charge a minimum of $8.12 because they would end up taking it out of their pocket. I think that would be a very difficult business model to sustain. So also what was revealed in this article is that with Iron Man 3, Disney already successfully negotiated a raise in their cut of the box office receipts, saying, look how many movies we have, we want you to give us 60% of the box office receipts. So, and they got that. So I think you're seeing the studios start to squeeze the theater owners more and more, and then you're seeing a press for digital releases, and I think the theater owners I still believe firmly that the future of moviegoing is going to be premium theaters. I think that theaters are very poorly maintained these days. I think people are not particularly well behaved in them. Many of us have had bad experiences. So I think that for them to stay a sustainable model, they're going to have to go premium in terms of the seat that you get, the food options available. The security, making sure people stay quiet, making sure, like for what Alamo Drafthouse does about phones, and then I think they'll shorten the window between when a movie is available in theater and when it's available digital. If you don't want to pay for that premium experience, then very soon you can get that. You can watch it on demand or on your phone, etc., on your TV. So very interesting to see the business change and being pushed towards that doomsday situation a little bit. Doomsday, I think, for many people who maybe don't want to see the movie-going experience just go almost entirely premium. Well, if you don't want to see that, you should be upset with Disney for pushing things in that direction. So I'm curious, what do you think of that story? What ticket price do you pay? Do you pay below the $8.12? And how would you feel if Disney were to force that to be raised? Would you think it was understandable considering the product they're offering? That's Disney's argument, that they have such quality in their fare that they deserve the correct, in their mind, cut. Or do you think it's just very greedy? Write your thoughts down below. These are very complex business questions, but obviously ones that affect us, literally. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Please write down below what you think of today's top 3 stories. Again, congratulations, Michelle, on your win. And let me know what you'd like to see covered tomorrow and any questions that you might have. Thanks for watching. Bye.